At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a young couple named Nora and Alex. The two of them decide to go on a trip, driving through a quiet rural area that is rarely passed by other people. In the middle of the journey, Nora suddenly feels the need to use the bathroom. Alex agrees and pulls over in front of a shop that appears to be closed. Since she can't hold it any longer, Nora decides to relieve herself behind the shop. While she's there, Nora finds a wallet and some clothes that seem to belong to someone, though she has no idea who. She doesn't think much of it and immediately squats to relieve herself. Right nearby, she also notices a dried human skull. After finishing, she returns to the car and tells Alex everything. Alex responds casually, thinking it might just be someone's belongings left behind. They then continue their journey. After some time, they come across an older woman whose car has broken down. Alex intends to help, but the woman instead speaks rudely to Nora. Feeling uncomfortable, they decide to leave and drive away, abandoning the old woman. Not long after, hunger starts to kick in. They stop at a small restaurant to eat. While waiting for their order, Alex notices a man sitting in the corner of the room, staring at them with an unsettling, unblinking gaze. Although disturbed, Alex tries to ignore him and continues eating. As they finish their meal and prepare to leave, the mysterious man suddenly approaches them and grabs Nora's hand while saying something that creates a tense atmosphere. Immediately after, they continue their journey. Nora and Alex soon realize that their fuel is running low, so they stop at a gas station. While paying, Alex asks the attendant, a man named Andrew, if there is a nearby place to stay. Andrew tells them there's an inn not far from there, and the price is quite affordable. After paying, Nora and Alex get back into their car and leave the gas station, unaware that Andrew is watching them from behind the glass, observing their departure with a mysterious expression. During the drive, Alex actually wants to stay at the inn recommended by Andrew since he's starting to feel exhausted from driving. However, Nora feels hesitant. She worries that the place might not meet their expectations and could be uncomfortable. Alex tries to convince her that continuing to drive without rest could be risky and lead to an accident. After being persuaded, Nora finally agrees to stay. When they arrive at the inn, a sense of unease immediately fills Nora's mind. The place looks eerie and quiet. Alex tries to calm her down, saying it's not as scary as it seems. After all, there are many cars parked outside, suggesting that other people are staying there. However, once they step inside, the atmosphere leaves them speechless. There are no guests in sight. All they find is silence, dust, and piles of dirty dishes on the dining table, as if many people had just used them. Curious, they decide to go upstairs, but their steps suddenly stop when a caretaker named Marcus appears out of nowhere, startling them. His appearance is strange and makes Nora even more frightened. Even so, Alex decides to stay. Marcus then leads them to a room. As soon as they enter, they are surprised once again. The room contains many beds. Unlike a typical inn room, Marcus explains that the inn used to be a shelter for homeless children, but since their numbers have decreased, the place has now been opened to the public. After Marcus leaves, Nora expresses her disappointment to Alex. Her instincts from the beginning were right, the inn is far from decent. Unbeknownst to them, there is a bloodstain on one of the beds. However, since they are already there, and it's late at night, they have no choice but to clean themselves up and try to rest. As they fall into a deep sleep, someone secretly hides behind the bed, wearing a goat mask, and silently watching them. Nora suddenly wakes up and realizes she is no longer in the room. She is now trapped inside a cage like an animal. She screams and desperately tries to escape, but her cries only attract the attention of two mysterious men wearing cow and goat masks. They approach her without mercy and knock her unconscious once again. After that, Nora is taken to a dark and filthy old warehouse. There, she is tightly tied to a chair with her legs forced apart. When she regains consciousness, she is shocked to see a woman wearing a rabbit mask standing right in front of her. Without any warning, the woman injects a liquid into Nora's body. Nora screams in pain. The liquid feels warm yet agonizing, and most horrifying of all, it is meant to force her to become pregnant. Not long after, the two masked men return to the warehouse. They drag Nora from the chair and place her inside an iron cage. Along the way, Nora sees many masked people going about their activities, as if the place were a normal village. However, everything becomes even more terrifying when she witnesses a man being executed right before her eyes. Nora is then taken to a large building. It turns out she is placed inside a human farm, and the door is locked tightly from the outside. The scene shifts to Alex. He wakes up tied inside a cage, completely stripped of his clothes. When he looks around, he sees several other men imprisoned in the same condition. The facility is divided into two sections, one for women and the other for men. A few minutes later, 3 masked men enter the area. Without any mercy, they approach one of the victims and beat him. Alex panics and becomes hysterical, but his reaction only makes him the next target. The masked men move closer, raise a blunt object, and strike Alex. After carrying out the brutal execution, the remaining victims are taken to a slaughter room. Their human bodies are processed like livestock. Before the process begins, all valuable belongings of the victims' watches, wallets, rings are collected and taken away. A man wearing a pig mask then carries a plastic bag. The contents are not ordinary trash, but pieces of human bodies. He walks out of the room casually, making the situation even more horrifying. The villagers who see him show no reaction at all, as if they are already used to such a sight. After that, the pig-masked man approaches his companion and helps move a cage containing newly captured victims. Not long after, he meets a man none other than Marcus, the caretaker of the inn. It turns out that he is the mastermind behind all of this. Marcus asks about the food supply for the night, then takes his men to the kitchen to make sure everything is sufficient. He reminds the cook to prepare proper meals for the special guests. A moment later, Marcus receives a phone call from someone believed to be his business partner. After hanging up, he immediately informs the pig-masked man that an honored guest will arrive that night. Marcus orders a special dish to be prepared to welcome the guest. After that, he and the pig-masked man enter the women's enclosure. This is where the true horror is revealed. The women there are treated like machines that produce breast milk forced to become pregnant and continuously milked for profit. This place is not just a farm, but also a factory for human meat. Among the imprisoned women, there is one holding her baby. The pig-masked man approaches her, takes the baby from her arms, and brings it to a weighing table. After a brief process, the baby is immediately disposed of, and its body is thrown away like trash. The mother can only cry silently, helpless against the cruelty of that place. After that, Marcus orders all the collected milk to be gathered and brought to the kitchen as preparation for the night's meal. Once everyone leaves, Andrew, the gas station attendant, suddenly appears. He enters the room, takes one of the bottles of milk, and drinks it. After that, he begins to rage, shouting insults at the women for no clear reason, making the situation even more tense. The scene then shifts to Marcus and the pig-masked man. Marcus receives a phone call from a customer, complaining that the food he ordered earlier contained a human tooth. This complaint makes Marcus both angry and anxious. Suddenly, a man wearing a goat mask approaches them and tells Marcus and the pig-masked man to immediately go to the women's enclosure because something is wrong. When they arrive, they find that one of the women has been killed, with a piece of wood lodged in her body. The name Andrew is written on it. Marcus is convinced that Andrew is responsible. Without hesitation, he orders the two masked men to find and capture Andrew immediately. Meanwhile, in the cage where Nora is being held, she notices another woman behind the bars. Nora tries to talk to her. In a weak and hopeless voice, the woman explains that she has tried every possible way to escape, but none have worked. In that place, the hope of freedom feels impossible. Nora then introduces herself to the woman beside her, whose name is Esley. Seeing how weak and tortured Esley is, Nora promises that she will take Esley and all the women there out of that hell. The scene shifts to the goat-masked man searching for Andrew. He eventually finds him doing something horrifying, feeding leaves to a severed human head. It is clear that Andrew's mental state has completely collapsed. The goat-masked man immediately drags Andrew to face Marcus. Marcus becomes furious upon learning that Andrew has killed one of the women who had been producing the best breast milk for them for years. Because he is considered to have damaged their source of reproduction, Andrew is punished by being forced to feed the imprisoned men alongside the masked guards. While doing so, Andrew becomes increasingly restless. He accidentally spills a barrel of food and suddenly runs away. The pig-masked man tries to chase him, but Andrew unexpectedly returns, bringing plants and presenting them to Marcus. Strangely, Marcus shows no anger at all, as if he has already accepted Andrew's madness. Instead, Marcus gives a new order. He instructs the pig-masked man to execute the women who are no longer considered useful. The pig-masked man, accompanied by two other masked men, immediately heads to the enclosure where Nora and the other women are held. Nora is devastated when she sees the woman she had spoken to earlier who can no longer produce breast milk being dragged out and executed on the spot. Her body is then taken to the slaughter room to be processed into consumable products. After witnessing the massacre with her own eyes, Nora is left in shock and can barely breathe. However, before she completely breaks down in fear, someone suddenly appears in front of her. It is Alex. Somehow, he is still alive and has managed to escape his earlier execution. Without wasting any time, Alex opens the cage and immediately urges her to escape. The two of them run out of the farm area until they find a truck, which they believe they can use to get away. Unfortunately, the truck is broken and won't start. With no other choice, Alex and Nora keep running and eventually hide inside an old church. But it seems their bad luck isn't over yet. One of the masked men discovers their trail. Panicking, the couple runs again, doing everything they can to avoid the relentless masked hunters chasing them. Their escape doesn't last long. While running through the forest, Alex suddenly steps into a bear trap hidden in the ground. The metal jaws clamp onto his leg, causing him to fall and scream in pain. The injury is so severe that he can no longer stand, let alone run. Nora panics and tries to free him, but Alex knows it's useless. With no other option, Nora is forced to leave him behind. The masked men soon catch up to Alex, and with brutal cruelty, they kill him on the spot. Meanwhile, Nora manages to return to the farm area and sneaks into the men's enclosure. She approaches one of the prisoners who still appears conscious and quietly asks how to escape from that place. The man tells her that the only way out is by using a bus, but the key is kept in one of the guards' houses. Nora then remembers her promise to Esley. She refuses to leave alone. She returns to the women's enclosure and takes Esley with her. Together, they run toward the bus parked at the edge of the farm. However, when they arrive, Nora suddenly realizes something: she forgot to take the key. With no choice, she leaves Esley waiting near the bus while she sneaks toward the house to retrieve it. After going through intense fear and nearly getting caught, she finally manages to get the key and runs back. Nora quickly gets into the driver's seat and starts the engine. But the moment she and Esley look toward the back, their breath freezes. Every seat on the bus is already filled with masked farmers. They sit neatly and silently, as if they have been waiting all along. There is no escape. There is no hope. In the end, the masked villagers are seen standing in front of a long table prepared for a grand feast. On top of the table lie 2 roasted female bodies served as the main dish. And we can guess who they are, Nora and Esley. The fact that no one ever escapes the human farm becomes the film's final, chilling conclusion.